Hello lovely people, in this video we will finally test SPL output of these two 18-inch subwoofers. Now, if you're new to the channel, if you haven't followed this build, because when I posted this, everybody's saying something about sealed enclosures. These are two 1-audio 18-inch subwoofers in Infinite Baffle. The Infinite Baffle part is we will have cutouts for one subwoofer behind the bumper that is venting to the outside, and exactly the same for that driver. So this is an Infinite Baffle setup. It's not an SPL setup. However, for science, I decided to measure the proper SPL output. Now, I am running the car because I want the lithium to be fully charged, and so that I would have some reserve when we're gonna do the actual testing. Infinite Baffle is a super efficient system where you don't need a lot of power to get a lot of output at the very low end. When I was planning this video, what I wanted to do is to make a comparison between Nick's Audi with a stereo integrity 24-inch and this. I posted online, I watched his video, not his, but somebody else did the actual testing, and it's really not comparable because there are some conditions. For example, the guy that tested it, he said, oh, I did it on the SQ tune, we did it somewhere high in the mountains where the air pressure is different, we had like a covering for the actual subwoofer like this and that, and they did low power testing, not like maximum SPL. So it's really not comparable, and I will not be comparing to the Audi. This is going to be a standalone set of measurements specifically for my system. Now, Infinite Baffle setup is known for having a lot of energy in the very low end. By very low end, I'm talking about single digits or anything below 30 hertz. In a typical SPL system, you would have a ported box or a walled setup where you have a port tuning frequency of, it depends, 25, 30, 33 hertz, whatever, and you would have a lot of output at that tuning frequency. Infinite Baffle does not have a tuning frequency, and it does have a very smooth and flat frequency response. A lot of people say that a flat frequency response is musical, especially for a subwoofers, because if you have a single peak at 30 hertz and not much in either side, you will have what is called a one-note wonder. Infinite Baffle is not about that. Now, before everybody starts boasting about your numbers in your systems, because I know there's going to be a lot of bass head that's going to jump, is like, oh, my car is doing 150 with, I don't know, whatever. You cannot compare a ported box or a bandpass box with Infinite Baffle. It's not comparable. The second thing is the frequency. When we'll be measuring, we're going to measure at 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on every 5 hertz. If you have a peak at 40, if your cabin is speaking at 40, if your port is speaking at 40, if your subs have a high FS, and you have a massive single peak at 40 hertz and you're doing, I don't know, 155 dB at 40 hertz, you cannot compare that with my results at 15 hertz. It's literally uncomparable. So this will have absolutely nothing to do with the SQ. This is purely for us to have fun. What I have in my system, as I mentioned, these subwoofers, 1-audio, IB3V3, they're both 18-inch. Some people in the comments say they don't look 18-inch, they look much smaller. Yes, they are 18-inch. Yes, they do fit in there. They're almost touching the metal over there. If you want to see the actual install, how I did the Infinite Baffle part, go back a few videos and watch the actual install so you would understand how this is Infinite Baffle. Again, this is not sealed, and I know I will have comments under the video saying that these enclosures are too small. Watch the videos, watch the install. For power, we do have a single lithium battery. A lot of people commented that lithium phosphate, it's not the typical leisure battery that you will find in solar. This is a high discharge lithium battery that can support up to 500 amp draw for a short amount of time for a burp. That's exactly what we're going to do. I do have the ESX 3K monoblock, so it is rated 3,300 watts at 14.4 into 1 ohm. These two subwoofers are wired down to 1 ohm. However, since they're an Infinite Baffle, we will have an impedance peak, a massive impedance peak at about 27, 26, 28 hertz somewhere where they have their FS. This is not a ported enclosure, so we're not going to have two peaks and a dip. It's totally different. So bear in mind that the actual power of the amplifier will be limited just because of that massive impedance rise we're going to have close to FS. These subwoofers are rated very differently compared to any other subwoofer. Any other subwoofer will be rated thermally. That means how much power it thermally can handle. Basically how much you can feed it until the coil overheats and burns. With these subwoofers, they are rated based on excursion and not thermal. So these subwoofers need about 1200 watts to reach Xmax at 20 hertz. If you feed it more than that, they will go over Xmax. If you're gonna go low in frequency, like 1510 hertz with 1200 watts, they will go a little bit over Xmax. And again, this testing will be a little bit different from a typical SPL testing, because with SPL testing, you test the subwoofers to their absolute maximum potential. That is, you don't care about Xmax, you care about mechanical limits. A lot of times when you're burping on an SPL system, you hear the actual subwoofer distorting because it runs out of Xmax, and you have ripped surrounds, ripped spiders. Sometimes you have a coil slapping in the back plate. This is not going to happen because this is going to be at close to rated power, a little bit more than rated power, but within that rated power, it will be within the Xmax limits. It will barely go out of the Xmax. So since this is an SQ setup, I am testing it this way. All the distortion that you're gonna hear, if you're gonna hear it all with a microphone, it will be some panels rattling. I did do a good job. I think I did a good job in sound treating this car. However, when you're playing at those levels, at those frequencies, it is impossible to get rid of all the rattles in the car. So without any further ado, let me introduce to what are we gonna measure and how we're gonna measure that. What I have here in the back, and this is what you're gonna see, this is the voltage of my lithium. This is a true RMS voltmeter that is quite fast in a refresh rate. Now the lithium is sitting at 13.3 volts because this is a lithium charger that doesn't overcharge. It's not gonna put 14, 14.4, 14.6 when it's not needed. When the battery is full, which is at the moment the battery is full, it's gonna sit about 13.3, 13.2 volts. So this is what we're gonna see. When we're gonna look during the burp, you will see the voltage dropping. This is a meter that I will be using to measure the, I want to say potential, not potential, output of the amplifier that goes into the subwoofer. This thing measures both voltage and current. The current is measured on the speaker wires. Here I have both negatives. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, but it's for both subwoofers that go in there, so it's going to show the current, and the voltage is what's coming out of the actual amplifier. When we're gonna multiply these two numbers, we will have a wattage, how much watts is going into the subwoofers. Now here we can see little power. It does that calculation automatically. However, from far away, because I will be sitting in the front, from far away you won't be able to see that wattage number, and it doesn't hold the peak. So we will have to, when I will be editing, I will stop the frame, I will calculate, and I'm gonna put it on the screen, the actual wattage. In regards to the SPL measurements, I will be measuring in the driver's headrest, which I asked about. Some people say you should measure on the passenger windshield, but I think for this time we're going to measure on the headrest. Maybe if there's going to be any interest, we will be able to measure everything from the passenger windshield. So let me close this and let's go have a look. For the meter, we will be using a base head garage dB meter. Thank you very much, Bayside Garage, for sending me this. I had it for a few months. I didn't really use it because I didn't have anything to use on. As I mentioned, and where my head typically is. So basically this is what you will be hearing while driving, while listening to music. Now, in the DSP, because I am running a Helix DSP with this, so I'm gonna very quickly show you that. We have a crossover set at 70 Hertz, but to a 30, it doesn't really matter what kind of crossover. But the main thing is that we are totally flat. You can see the zero line from 25 all the way up to 55 Hertz. Now, Infinite Baffle setups, they do suffer from a thing that they have a lot of gain at the bottom end. However, the top end is not that nice. So anything above 50 Hertz will roll off automatically by itself, not because of the subwoofers, not because they cannot play that high, but because of the cabin. The cabin does not allow a good transfer function so that they would play up high. So we will be measuring 50 Hertz and below. So I do have sine tones, 0 dBFS sine tones loaded into the head unit. We have 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, and 10 Hertz. This meter measures down to 10 Hertz. It doesn't go any lower. And it does start measure from 120 dB. So, is that it? I think that's it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna very quickly set the gains up because that amplifier takes 9.3 volts or something, but my DSP can output only 8 volts, so I need to turn the gain a little bit up to get the most of it. I will be testing in the same location with the windows up and with the windows down. At the moment, the windows are going to be up because we know that when you lower the window, the SPL increases, and we're going to see by how much. So, a very quick recap. We will be measuring the performance, SPL performance of two 18-inch subwoofers in Infinite Baffle. We will have a look at the voltage drop, at the actual power that's coming out of the amplifier, which is called a clamped power. We will be looking at SPL score at frequencies between 10 Hertz and 50 Hertz. And I will measure it twice. Once with passenger window closed, and the second time with passenger window open. So, place your bets. If you want, stop the video and down in the comments, comment what do you think, what is going to be the best score, the number, and what do you think at which frequency that is going to happen. Let me set the gains very quick and then we can start with the measuring. Okay, first test, 50 Hertz. Meter is on peak hold, so we will have a look at the peak measurement after we're done. Let me try to zoom in on this one so you could see it. And we see everything. We see voltage, we see amperage, we see one subwoofer. Okay, let's go. 50 Hertz full tilt. Okay, I didn't really see the actual voltage or the amperage on that meter, but I think I'm gonna stop the frame and I'm gonna see it. The score, 130.29. Cool. Let's drop down to 45 Hertz. Undo. Peak measurements. Okay, let's have a look. That is not pleasant. 130.4, so almost the same. Do undo. Let's go down to 40 Hertz. Something went down and I think I know what. I think, okay, so we have 132. We're gonna repeat this. I think my fuse blew, the one that goes into the subwoofer amplifier. Let's very quickly check. Yep. So this is a 200 amp fuse that's going into the subwoofer amplifier, and I knew that this is gonna happen. Okay, let me replace the fuse and we're gonna try again. Okay, sorted. So instead of using another fuse, I connected the amplifier positive into that one that goes directly to the battery. However, the battery still has a 300 amp fuse. If I'm gonna blow that, I think I might have another one, not sure, but let's try again. Okay guys, to me this is scary because I've never done anything like this before. I should be safe, but okay, so let's try the same 40 hertz. Okay, let's do this. Okay. You have 132.47 at 40. Okay, let's drop it down to 35. Sorry for the focus. Undo. Do. Peak. 35 hertz. Okay, yeah, the stuff didn't like it. I don't know if I will be able to see the actual voltage. Score 130.173. Let me fix that. Okay, to be fair, I don't think I will be able to see the actual power levels just because it's so shaky and rattly. Okay, so I have 35. Let's go down to 30 hertz. 30 hertz. I'm gonna do it like this. Oh, peak, unpeak, peak. 30 hertz. Okay, we have 134.27, and only now the amplifier fan turned on just to cool it down a little bit. Okay, the DC-DC charger kicked in as well, so now it's charging 13.6, a little bit higher. Let's reset. Let's drop down to 25 hertz. Okay, let's do this. Let me zoom into the meter and see. Okay, we have 136.33. Let's go down to 20 hertz. Let's do exactly the same. Oh, meter, I keep forgetting it. And tick, tick. Let's do this. Okay, so the voltage doesn't drop that much. We have 138.4 at 20 hertz. Yes, something is buzzing in there. Let's drop down to 15 hertz. So this is where the Infinite Baffle really shines. Peak, undo. Okay, peak, 15 hertz. Oh, I turned off. Okay, I'm back. 15 hertz, let's do this. Okay, we have 139.23. And the last test is gonna be 10 hertz. Let's see what it does at 10 hertz. Meter and tick, tick. Okay, 10 hertz, Infinite Baffle, 2/18. We have 137.86. Cool, I'm happy with that. So one thing to bear in mind is that amplifier, the monoblock, has an unbeatable infrasonic at 10 hertz, which slightly affects 15 hertz as well. Now, I don't know how much I will affect if I'm gonna be here on the passenger side, but now we're gonna do exactly the same with the window open. Let's go back to 50 hertz. I am really not keeping track of it because I will add the numbers somewhere here in the corner when I'm editing, so I don't really remember what I did before. Let's see. Okay, are we ready? Peak and peak. So 50 hertz, this is gonna be very unpleasant. 50 hertz is unpleasant for human beings. Okay, let's see. 131.15. If you're wondering about the actual shaking of the camera, I just noticed that if I hold my hand on the actual here, the camera shakes, but if I lift it, it doesn't shake. Yay! Okay, let's drop down by 5 to 45 hertz. Peak, 45 hertz. Okay, there we go. 132 at 45. Cool. Let's go down to 40 hertz and tick, 40 hertz. That is really unpleasant. 133.04. Okay, let's drop it lower where this thing really shines. Below 30 ideally. Okay, up and down. Okay, peak. What do we have? 35 hertz. I'm just reminding myself. Go. You can see that the voltage doesn't drop that much, 13.3 instead of 13.9, so the battery is holding. What do you have? 133.97, almost 134. Cool. Drop it down to 30 hertz. Tick and tick. Cool. Let's do this. Oh, can we see that one? Yes. There's a little bit glare. There's a little bit glare because of the shifting. What do we have? 136.29. Let us drop down to 25. Tick and tick. I'm trying to edit as little as possible so that nobody would say that it's something fake or anything. That's why excuse the shifting camera and everything. I need to fix that. Okay, do we have a better view? Zoom in a little bit. Yes, we do have a better view. What are we doing now? 25 hertz. This is peak. Let's do 25. Oh, that's not pleasant. A 138.89. Cool. Let's drop it down to 20. And that thing again. Okay, it's alive. Peak and peak. What do we have? I forgot. 20 hertz. Okay, we have power, we have voltage. Let's do 20 hertz. Okay, 20 hertz, we have 142.57. Okay, one of the last ones. Let's go down to 15. I think this should be my highest score because this cabin and subwoofers are peaking at about 15, 16 hertz. So this should be the best score. Ooh, let's see. Oh my God, it is bloody windy. What do we have? 145.52. Good stuff. And the last one, 10 hertz. Can we see that? Because it's shifting. Glare. Okay. Just to catch the numbers. Oh, and tick. Okay, 10 hertz. This is gonna be a little bit windy, if you want to call it. Let's do 10 hertz. And we have 137.06, so quite a bit lower. So the best score is at 15. Let's do it again just to confirm that we have the actual score at 15. Let me go a little bit wider so you can see the subwoofers flexing. And tick, 15 hertz. Yeah, 145. 145 A2. Man, the car does not like it. Let me do very quickly a slow motion of this. Yeah, the car doesn't like 10 hertz. How about me? How do I look? Yeah, that's not pleasant, but it's fun. So, 218s, Infinite Baffle. How much power? I'm gonna get the numbers from the actual still so I can tell you how much power, but 3K amplifier with a massive impedance rise, I don't think it's gonna be much. It's gonna be, my guess, maybe 1,000 watts. We will see. That's it. Bass heads and SQ heads that care about bass heads numbers. Okay, ready?
Again!
I couldn't wait for editing, so I just sat down, grabbed a piece of paper and wrote down what I got. So my best score with window open was 145.52, and according to the amperage and the voltage, basically this is the total wattage, how many watts these subwoofers used. So I got 900 watts. I got 145 and a half with 900 watts. Now stereo integrity, the Audi with 24-inch and like here, they got 147 with 960 watts. So my car has 1.5 dB less. Now, in regards to why, to me, and I know like SPL wise, 1.5 dB is a huge difference between winning and losing. To me, 1.5 dB is little. I would imagine if, because you saw how this bloody thing flexes, if this would be properly sealed and wouldn't flex, I would maybe gain that 1 extra dB. I don't know. Maybe if my window would be a little bit bigger. I don't know, is Audi's window bigger or the same size as mine? Maybe if the window is bigger, maybe I would gain half a dB. But I'm not a bass head. I'm not going to be chasing half a dB here and there. To me, from SQ perspective, this is almost the same. Efficiency wise is almost the same, score wise is almost the same. Yes, I lost. Stereo integrity 24 is louder on the same power by 1 dB. Maybe I would get half a dB with those extra 60 watts. I don't know. But the main thing is efficiency of Infinite Baffle systems. The lower you go in frequency, the less power you use. The most power I used at 45-40 hertz, 2000 watts, and this is a 3K amplifier, so 2000 watts. Now, if we would go with 15 hertz, we would double the power. That means I would need a 6K amplifier because of the impedance rise. If I would have a 6K amplifier, I would be pushing, what, 1800 watts, and this would be, in theory, plus 3, so 148, which, I don't know, is it gonna reach 150? No, I wouldn't think so. And another thing between the stereo integrity and this is the actual car. I did prove in my previous videos that the shape of the car, the length of the car, impacts how much boost you get, how much cabin gain you're getting at the lower frequencies. Comparing this Skoda with my Insignia was playing lower than this, and the location as well. If you have your subwoofer in there, deep inside, is a much better loading than two of these on the opposite sides. So the 1.5 dB difference, I think it's due to the subwoofer location and due to the actual car, the cabin dimensions. Infinite Baffle is so efficient that there's literally very little difference between which subwoofers you're gonna use. I'm not saying that one audio is better than stereo integrity, and I think stereo integrity shouldn't say that their subwoofer is better than this. It's kind of the same. It's almost the same score on almost the same power. To me, is the same. Let's not fight. Let's live as friends happily ever after. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.